Good afternoon, everyone. So, as and when most of you get seated and take your seats for this very interesting panel discussion that we have scheduled, I welcome you all on the session on opportunities for Make in India, geospatial hardware, data products, and software development. Okay, so thank you, first of all, everyone, for being here. I think the topic of the session that we have is a very, very important topic. We just concluded a session on space, and space, as we know, is one of those sectors which has attracted a lot of Make in India and Made in India frameworks. But when we come to geospatial, it's going to be very interesting to see what is the trajectory of Make in India and of the National Geospatial Policy in this particular sector. So just to set the context here, the Indian geospatial industry is estimated to be 63,000 crores by 2025. And do you know what this means? 63,000 crores is a very big number. But how much of that 63,000 crores is actually products developed by Indian companies? How much of that is export of services that happens from our country to another, to worldwide? So here, I have a question for you all. What does this growth mean for our local industry? And how do we ensure that India not only consumes technology, but also creates world-class geospatial infrastructure, geospatial hardware, geospatial software, and data products, not only for ourselves, but for the world? Isn't that an important question? So, to solve this puzzle, I have an esteemed set of panelists who will provide us answers, who have, in some form or the other, tackled these questions in their work. So, I'm pleased to invite Mr. Agendra Kumar, Managing Director, Esri India. M.K. Sunil, Director of Business Development, Bentley Systems. We have Ryan Banks, Global Managing Director and Founder, Geospatial Insurance Consortium. And Akshay Loya, CEO, GIS Kernel. So as you can see, we have a very interesting set of panelists. We have a global representative, we have an Indian representative, we have an Indian organization who is doing a tremendous work in India, and then we have a global organization who are customizing their solutions for India. So I'll start with you, Agendra. Esri has launched Indo-ArcGIS, which has been tailored specifically for the Indian market. And how do you see the role of such solutions foster local talent, local innovation, and lead to indigenous solution development?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. Indo-ArcGIS, Esri's ArcGIS is a technology which originates from US. However, to make sure that it becomes more useful for our users in India, we did two things. One was to integrate a lot of Indian data sets and make them available to our user community through what we call Living Atlas. So we work with a very large number of government organizations who publish open data sets. We georeference those data sets in whatever form they are published, and we make them available on a cloud system which is hosted in India. So it becomes a very important repository of data sets for our users in the country. And that number of layers today stands more than 1,000. So that was one value addition, which we did in India to provide higher value. Second thing which we did was to create a significant number of local solution products. The problem which we wanted to solve was that many organizations buy a technology, but it takes time for them to create their own applications. And every department is making that effort again and again. So we have created about 300 such solution products, which are for commonly used applications, which are in municipal areas, which are in forest departments, in water supply, in disaster management activities. So these solution products are also bundled along with as a part of Indo ArcGIS, and they ensure that customers are able to start using the technology, finding solutions in the really shortest possible time. So I think these are the value adds which actually helped us in making Indo ArcGIS a very successful offering for the Indian GIS user base.
Thank you, Agendra. Sunil, Bentley has been there. We are seeing an increasing convergence of geospatial and engineering software, and Bentley is at the forefront of it, right? What opportunities do you see for your organization to collaborate with local software developers to develop solutions in digital twins and integrated design software?
So, first of all, I think if we look at the company itself, we acquired a lot of local technologies to actually see that we can cater to local companies. So, STAD is a great example. REI was an Indian company we acquired. It's one of the flagship products for our company in terms of structural analysis and stuff like that. We are actually, as the industry is moving from 2D to 3D, there is a notion that we are changing the way people design the infrastructure. More and more design and analysis go hand in hand today. So as you design, you need to analyze the design itself, and it's not an afterthought. Like after, if you keep on designing, after 1 month you do some analysis, you might have to fall back and you lose a lot of work. But today the whole idea is design and analysis is hand in hand kind of thing. You do keep on doing analysis so that you don't lose the work. Uh, our technology, as much as all this process is concerned, we have already included IS standards into the software. But where we think collaboration can happen is as we move into more into 3D and into digital twin, the new concept where the convergence is happening from engineering as well as geospatial, where we bring all the technologies together. There is a need for large number of expertise to implement the technology for customers, right? As states and organization, large organizations, states who would implement, let us say, a digital twin, it can't be done. And it's a long process. Sometimes the project can be 20 years, 25 years long project. So you need a lot of people to do the implementation. And that's where I think we'll be collaborating a lot with many of the firms here.
Thank you, Sunil. Ryan, you have an extensive experience in insurance sector, right? So, what kind of geospatial data products do you think Indian companies can make in India and commercialize it and then export it to foreign markets?
Well, it's a good question. Thanks for it. So the 2 seconds about the GIC is we're a global consortium of insurance companies doing geospatial work, and in partnership with a company called Vexel, have built the largest aerial imagery and location data program in the world. We collect the majority of countries and population across 42 countries. What can it be made in India and exported? I frankly don't think it should. I don't think it should. I think it should be owned in India. I think it should be India. This is not geospatial data. And this is the thing that I'm starting to realize. We all talk about geospatial data. It's not. It's not. We've been wrong, right? If 90% of all data has a geospatial component to it, it's just data. It's strategic data. It's foundational data, right? And if we're going to talk about the global use and application and change that this data can make, we can't be talking about making it in India. We have to talk about its strategic value to India. And that's what we're really excited about. So hopefully we get it right. We're working right now with some partners, and So I'm in the room in GMR. Saw him a minute ago. Some good friends and partners here to do this. But we're looking at expanding and creating the largest data program in India for exactly this reason, is to really own in India and find the strategic value that this offers.
Very nice. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Akshay, you are a growing player in Indian geospatial software landscape. What are the opportunities and what are the challenges that you see when you develop your software?
Thank you. Firstly, thank you GWCC and Geospatial World for inviting me and being a part of this esteemed panel. So just to quickly introduce in 30 seconds about GIS Kernel. GIS Kernel is a geospatial and earth observation startup, started in 2018 and finished 100 plus projects in 25 plus countries, solving those tiny problems. That's where we started. Though we were into services and slowly started building a product, we took our own sweet time because we realized that it's, 10 years back, or probably today as well, we are talking about data not being there. But fast forward 10 years, we will be talking about platforms not being there to solve that problem, specifically in India, right? And that's where we are trying to build that problem and not to work in silos, right? That's the theme of the panel discussion as well, that how can we leverage hardware, software, data from various sources. And we are building a platform called SpatioSynth, which is a no-code GeoAI platform to get this insights out of all this data set and solve a problem which not only, get the insights, but try to be, very easy to use for, people working on the ground till top management. So the challenges probably, which I see that they are being addressed, right? I think I should not call myself as a first generation startup because a lot of work has been done by Geospatial World or History India, a lot of other players to at least set up those policies and start good initiatives. Like, I see a lot of call for papers which are showing Indian problems and inviting startups like us to solve those problems. So it's there, it's being there. I think what the problem is that we need to speed it up. We need support from industry to, to accelerate this problem solution discussion which is going on. So that is about what it is.
Thank you, Akshay. One of the points that you mentioned was that we need to stop working in silos, right? So, no, I'll come to you on that, but I'll ask again that question. What kind of collaborative models do you see that public and private companies, public stakeholders and private stakeholders can have in order to develop indigenous capacity in the country? Indigenous in capacity.
Okay. So, well, there's a lot of collaboration has started after the new national geospatial policy was announced, and some critical areas were identified where it is expected that nation will make significant progress in next 10 to 15 years. So we see that there are collaborations between private sector and ISRO, not from the satellite and launch vehicle perspective, even for geospatial data and other geospatial activities. There is collaboration between organizations like Survey of India and private sector. From what I know is that Survey of India is looking at involving private sector companies to a very, very large extent for data creation and other activities. Their model is going to be that they will have most of the things done by private sector on their behalf. So that's a huge opportunity for us. Then as the infrastructure development is taking place in the country, whether it's construction of roads and highways or bridges or tunnels or airports or all kind of infrastructure, it gives a huge opportunity for the Indian industry ecosystem to come together and provide solutions for those and support the government initiatives there. What other thing what I have seen is that there are a number of companies who have come in different parts of this, I would say, geospatial ecosystem. We have new satellite companies, new Earth observation data is available. It's going to improve further. But there are a lot of companies who have come in integrating the solution and providing as a complete solution to an end user. And then we have also seen companies who are able to leverage the cloud technology and offer different consumption models to the users. So I think this whole ecosystem together will make the adoption of geospatial technologies in the country easier for government organization through private sector collaboration.
Thank you. Sunil, hypothetically, what kind of incentives would you look from the government of India in order to start making in India?
Go ahead and take it.
Hypothetically.
I think policies is one place where you need to make huge advancement, right? So then people would use technology much easier. And today, if you look at, I think geospatial plays a very important role in almost everything, right from the travel that you do on a Uber or whatever, or you order food from Swiggy, Zomato, you name it, right? Everything has a geolocation to the thing that whether it's a software or people. So it's about land, people, and assets together. So
Move the mic closer.
yeah. So I think those three things together, when we are looking at it, it's important that I think the policies get eased, and that's where I think we can collaborate much better. We also acquired recently a company called Cesium, which is a 3D geospatial company. So we're going to be competition to Esri, I guess. So,
Good luck with that.
no, so as we said earlier, there's a convergence happening, and we see as we move into more of moving away from the file structure based architecture to data driven architecture, the technologies need to come together. So both engineering and geospatial, we thought that was the right moment to acquire geospatial technology and integrate that so that we can provide better technology to people in terms of digital twin. And when we look at today morning, when we had this think tank on digital twin, one of the biggest thing about implementation of digital twin is policy around data. Do we have a policy around data? How much data can be shared? What data can be accessed by people? Right? And that makes a big, so today nobody is sharing the data across. So how do I do data crunching or building technology that can be helpful? So I think we need a data policy, first of all, and other policies that will help us execute things better.
Thank you. Ryan, you mentioned the data program that you're working in to expand in India with Vexel, right? And GMR as well. So, looking from the outside, how does this collaboration feel like? I mean, what are the kind of opportunities that you saw, or what are the kind of challenges that you had to address, if there was any? If you could throw light on it.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nanya. I mean, I guess the opportunity is everything, right? It's the fastest growing economy in the world. It's a large land mass. You need the efficiencies to be gained to be able to really do anything that AI now offers, that systems now offer. And that's, I think, what we're doing. It's just it's logical. This, like I said earlier, this is foundational data, right? And we need to take ourselves as an industry more seriously and stop just putting ourselves in a corner that says this is only geospatial data. This is AI fuel, right? If we're going to have the conversation about sovereign AI, you have to fuel that. And this is all of the data that goes into that. We're building foundational geospatial AI models that enable the user to just ask the question of the data without needing to know what a spatial join is, right? And it gives you the answer, or it builds a software web app that will constantly give you the answer. That's where this is headed. And so for us, it just makes sense that we need to image everything and do so on a constant basis with AI capable imagery. right? Because that's what we're enabling here. And so it was a no-brainer, and we're still putting it together. Like, this is it's not without its challenges, but it just why would we? Why not? I mean, we're trying to make it as inclusive as possible. We view this as the enabler, right? We view this data as then what you can use everybody up here's system to then get answers out of, right? We're not the end all be all. We're not that answer provider. We're just that foundational data provider. And from that point on, I think that where this goes is if you're going to talk about things like AI, if you're going to talk about things like the future of autonomous driving in flight, if you're going to talk about, smart cities, digital twins, we have to have that foundational layer. And the first step is to go build that.
Thank you. Before I move to Akshay, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to raise your hands. I'll be happy to take them. Akshay, so we did a study, and we did an analysis, and we found that between 2020 and 2022, there was some 3,000 crores that was invested. We had in startup funding and investment in India. And when we looked at the numbers, a significant, almost 85 to 90% of that proportion was in the space sector and not in geospatial. So do you think that is a gap that needs to be addressed? Or why do you think is the geospatial sector not getting the kind of investments that it should?
I think, that's quite a pain point you spoke about directly. So look, that's a very interesting discussion. And just a few minutes back, we were discussing the same thing. We discuss that daily. So it's not only about investment. So it's very easy to get the investment by doing the services project. That's why we are surviving. It's about attention which needed to be given, right? So a lot of attention is given to upstream market, which is really good because we were complaining about data. We don't have data, right? So Saurabh sir just pointed same thing in the discussion that we don't have data 20 years back. But then if you fast forward 10 years, we are going to complain about not having a platform. So it's very important, like I said, not to work in silos, but have a solutions which are built or having a platforms which are built in India, which solves the problem for India. And I'm pretty sure that once we build for India, it can be scalable, even if he said it's not needed, but then I think it can be scalable outside India. We did 8 to 10 different agriculture projects across globe. Trust me, not even a single project is comparable to each other. Everyone has a different problem and different solution. So in India, it's again a very complex market. So I think another problem which will come is about security, data security. So once we have a lot of data, security is something which need to be addressed along with it in parallel. Otherwise, there will be another long pause given to acceptance of the solution.
Thank you.
If I could, just to comment on you mentioned security, I would advise that, measured security is important, but openness is what's driving this, right? Like openness in AI models, openness in geospatial, openness in data. Like we all need to work together. So yeah, you're solving problems here. Those same problems exist everywhere. We need to be able to work as one community. And so let's not overstep and have a knee-jerk reaction to data security. Let's lend ourselves towards openness and then take security measures where needed, right?
Thank you, Ryan. Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay. So I have one question. Like I mentioned, India's geospatial industry ecosystem is forecasted to be 63,000 crores by 2025. That's a big number. And that includes hardware, software, and services. And a lot of our services are actually exported outside, right? When we look at the domestic market, we see that there is significant amount of hardware and software solutions and data products that are there in the country at this point of time, be it from foreign players or indigenous players. How do you suggest can new companies or new entries into this market position themselves or grow in this market where the policy has just opened up? We have significant amount of initiatives. What would be your suggestion to somebody new who is setting up their business in either hardware, software, or data products? To all the panelists as a closing remark.
I think there's a big gap in terms of providing solutions, especially integrated solutions which have hardware, software, data, imagery. So there's definitely a big, I would say, scope there for many new players to come in. Some of the systems take time to develop, but providing solutions is a faster activity and provides a lot more value to the users here. So I would say that's a big opportunity here.
From the industry that we serve, we see that our industry, especially the engineering world, is very fragmented, multiple data sets across. So it's very important that the architecture that we have in software development is open, so that everybody can collaborate and build technology that can help the industry. So open architecture is something that we are working on. And in fact, CCM 3D geospatial technology that we acquired is a platform that is very open. And already I was kind of reading, a lot of people have built a lot of application on top of it in US and Europe. So we hope that people here would pick up and start to build something that is local.
It's a good one. So when text messaging, SMS was created, there was no use case. It was just created, right? And it was handed to the users to then come up with what it is. Why would I ever need to send a message from a phone? I could just call. Well, sometimes you can't call. Sometimes my mom takes forever to answer a question, and I don't want that. And so I'd rather just send her a message and have it be fast, right? It's user-defined use case. And I think that we're experiencing this, where we have moved from highly qualified, trained professionals as the only admitted authorized users of this data to now anybody able to ask a question and get an answer. And so I think we need to be inclusive. It's very quick for us to jump on locking everything down and this is ours and whatever. That's not how it should be, right? This is a massive industry and an even bigger opportunity, but we have to recognize that the number one geospatial user or company in the room might be the pizza delivery company because they have to get you the pizza in 30 minutes or less or they owe you a free one. So I guess that Domino's Pizza has better geocodes than any of us on stage, right? Sorry. But they have better pizza than Esri, that's for sure. So anyway, let's be open about it. Let's think about how this can be done differently and how we can view it differently and invite everybody to that table.
I think what really important right now for us or learn from the previous generation company is to build a sustainable company, not to go or have a feeling of missing out to get the investment and build a solution in that direction, but rather to learn from mistakes of the previous companies of not just copy pasting because we have been service driven industry, right? So it was very easy to just copy paste and get some investment in India that we are solving the same problem here, we have solved it outside India, but it's not going to work that way. So learn from the companies, their mistakes, but also what they have been believing is building a sustainable company.
Thank you, Akshay. And we are really hard pressed for time. So thank you, panelists. It was indeed a very interesting conversation. With this, I would conclude this panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.